Welcome back to Cruising Calypso. This week we take a look at the MJM 29Z, a pocket cruiser that has a lot to offer. Coming up. The MJM 29 is a pocket cruiser that was one of MJM's early designs and builds. It's no longer in production but is available on the used market. In taking a look, I saw a handful of them, and they price around $220,000 up to about $260,000 depending on the year. Now this is a premium for a 29-foot boat. You compare that to some of the other boats we've looked at, Sea Rays and Cruisers and Rivieras, and that is at least double the price for the similar boat. But the MJM is quite a lot of boat. For those of you familiar with the brand, MJM has its roots in sailboat development, with the Johnstone family famous for the J-boat family of sailboats. So as a result, her interior, build, and construction is very high-tech and of a very high quality. The use of high-tech fibers throughout the build and the cherry joiner work in the cabin is emblematic of this design philosophy. The MJM 29 can serve as a day boat for a group of 6 or more, or an overnight or weekender for a couple. Her cockpit has ample seating across the transom and along both port and starboard sides. She has a pilot seat and an observer seat. Down below, she has what I would call a V-berth with a filler cushion, a wet head, and a small galley. The boat is 32.5 feet long overall with a 10-foot 2-inch beam. She has about a 2.5 foot draft, and remember, she's a stern drive, so the stern drive leg can be raised up to some degree. She has a 16-degree dead rise at the transom, which technically does not make it a deep V, but the MJM hull is known for its seakeeping abilities. She carries 125 gallons of fuel, 30 gallons of water, and her standard power is the 4-cylinder D4 Volvo Penta turbo diesel. So let's talk a little bit about the Volvo Penta D4. This is a pretty sturdy 4-cylinder diesel that comes in power ranges from about 200 up to about 300 horsepower depending on configuration. It's a great application for this boat, powered through the Volvo Penta stern drive, and will provide both a excellent turn of speed up to 28 knots and excellent fuel economy. While the streamlined lower housing of the stern drive adds to her efficiency and speed, I have not been a fan of single applications of stern drives for cruising boats because it limits their close-in maneuverability. The boat does come with a bow thruster, but if you're in an application like so many places that we visit where you're backing in against a dock, backing in a single stern drive with any kind of a breeze can be a little bit challenging, and if you're not used to it, can be the source of anxiety and a few choice words. Given all that, let's look at her performance. Remember, this is a 32-foot overall boat with a 10.5-foot beam. And with that 240 horsepower diesel, it'll push her up to 30 knots, burning 11 gallons an hour, giving her miles per gallon of 2.7. You throttle that back to 19-ish knots, which is a place we often cruise at, and you drop down to 5.7 gallons an hour and 3.4 miles per gallon. We can contrast that against our first Calypso, the 310 Sea Ray, which was a 31-foot boat with twin 5.7 gas engines on about a 12-foot beam, maybe 11.5, 12-foot beam. That boat would cruise at about 23 knots and would be burning 0.8 miles to the gallon, and she carried 300 gallons of fuel and had a range of about 250 miles. So this boat offers a lot of range and a lot of speed with a very little amount of power. Now, she doesn't have the same accommodations as the 310 did, but all in all, this is a reasonable comparison for similar purpose boats. Taking a look at her layout and accommodations, to starboard she has her helm and throttle controls, and to port she has an observer seat. Underneath the hardtop, she has port and starboard bench seats, and then aft she has a bench seat across the transom, and there is a cockpit table that is convertible and can lower down and add additional sleeping if you want. Her transom has a nice walk-through door out to a fixed swim platform, which is not huge, but it's certainly large enough to serve its purpose, and it could carry a dinghy on Weaver davits. Down below, her accommodations are very nice but limited. She has a small galley with sink and refrigerator. She has a wet head to starboard. And then in the forward section, she has, again, what I would refer to as a V-berth. It's set up as a dinette, but I would keep it as a V-berth myself, and it can accommodate 2 people comfortably. The head is of modest size, but it has everything you need with a vacuum flush head and a pull-out shower. Overall, the MJM29 is a nice package at a premium price, but a high-quality boat that will provide a lot of enjoyment for a long time. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up. It helps us so much.